Yo, what's going on, guys? Barely Awake here, back at it with another banger video. And in today's video, we are going to be ending my end of year lists for 2025. Finally, it only took until more than a week into 2026, but we're doing it. We're gonna have 20 albums on here, and they're gonna be not very good. Um, Now during re-listening to these albums for um for refreshing myself before this video, I felt pretty cursed, and that's what our number 20 album is going to be. Paleface Swiss came through with one of the first metal albums of the year, really. Um, at least one of the first notable ones with this record, and it just was a bit of a disaster from start to finish. Um, you know, their brand of really sort of dumbed down rap metal just doesn't really appeal to me in today's day and age. Um, there's tracks on here where it's not even metal, and it's just like the guy doing fucking NF music. And then there's points on here where it is metal and the vocals are terrible. Not good. Speaking of metal, where the vocals are terrible, however, our number 19 spot goes to Even in Arcadia by Sleep Token. Now, when I heard the singles for this, I actually wasn't dreading this album too much. I thought that the track Damocles was actually a pretty decent single. I quite like that track melodically, it gets stuck in my head very frequently. But pretty much everything else on this album was horrendous. Whether that be the culturally insensitive single Caramel, whether that be um, just the laughably bad Past South, or my least favourite track on the album, the utterly repulsive Provider. Um, this feels like such a step back from Take Me Back to Eden. As someone who is rooting for Sleep Token, and yeah, I struggled to get through this thing. I'm not gonna lie. Another album that I struggled to get through, perhaps even more, and another album that I was maybe even more disappointed by, is gonna be this new Justin Bieber record, Swag. Um, when I found out Justin Bieber was dropping an album called Swag with features from Lil B and Cash Cobain on it, I I'm not gonna lie. This sounds lame, but I was kind of looking forward to it. Um, Now it's not fair to criticize an album for not giving me what I wanted, but like, wouldn't this album have been so much better if it was Justin Bieber tapping into those fucking Maria I'm drunk days? I don't know. Instead, we got him ripping off like Dijon. Well, I say ripping off Dijon. It's with Dijon's blessing. I'm pretty sure he's on here. But like, why would I listen to this when I can listen to Dijon? Why would I listen to this when I can listen to McGee? It's just kind of questionable music. And another album that disappointed me vocally. Like, Justin Bieber is a great singer. He can be so amazing on tracks. But on this album, I found his vocals really grating and annoying personally. Along with an instrumental palette that just isn't really unique in today's day and age. Another album that's palette is not unique to today's day and age whatsoever is this new Lovejoy album, One Simple Trick. Um, Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too clued up on the Wilbur suit drama or whatever. I don't really pay attention to drama, it doesn't interest me. But this album doesn't interest me either, and that's why it's made the list. We've got one of the most dated sounding indie albums that has came out in recent memory. Um, Literally not a single track from this thing stuck with me. Um, I can't remember how any of them sound, and I like I said, I re-listened to these to refresh myself. And no, I can't remember how a single track from this album goes. Really just poo music, to be honest. Which, as someone who loves indie music, is just even more sad to see. Like, I love when new indie bands come out. It's probably the thing that excites me most, besides maybe like new rappers. But no, this album really failed to excite me, and that's its main issue. Another album that didn't excite me whatsoever was this new Memphis May Fire album, Shapeshifter. Just your standard octane core fare, with annoying choruses, samey song structures, riffs that aren't really distinguishable. It's just not really a fun time. That can't be said for this next album, though. This album very much was a fun time, but I'd be lying if I said it was fun for the right reasons. We're, of course, going to be going with Suck On My Album by Kill Carl. What is there to even say about Kill Carl at this point that hasn't been said? Got popular on the app. Instagram Reels, or should I say like infamous on the app. Sorry, can you tell that like I've not slept well? It got really popular on the app Instagram Reels, and you can tell he was infamous for his mean-spirited songs about how you're awful and he's Kill Carl and all that stuff, and he's a metalhead bitch, and he likes to cuss like he was raised in a barn. And this album is just all of your favorite parts of that in one solid, cohesive experience. It does actually quite excite me for where he goes next. Like, I could see a world where Kill Carl drops an album that is a lot of fun, because this album is. And I do actually look forward to what he comes out with next. There's something about trap beats in metal music. There's something about trap beats in metal music. That's right, Convergence, Two Minds in One by Villain of the Story is going to be my number 14 inclusion on this list. Take everything that makes Suck On My Album charming and fun and just leave, like, the metal with trap beats thing. I mean, there's points on here where it is just straight up emo rap music. With really edgy lyrics and sucky songwriting. It's just as edgy as it sounds, and that's not a good thing. Another album that's edgy and stupid. Well, this will be a bit of a hot take, I suppose, but we're going to be going with Birthing by Swans in at number 13. Swans, a band, a project that I don't even, like, I keep trying. I have now heard The Seer, To Be Kind, The Beggar, and this album, and I'm still yet to see what makes this band so great to so many. Michael Giro's vocals are just skin crawling, but not in a good way, and this whole like, oh, their music's super punishing. I don't want to be punished by the music I listen to. I want to listen to music and have a nice time. I'm sorry if that's anti-intellectual to say, but I knew from the moment that I Am a Tower released that this was just going to be the same old from this band. Overly pretentious, quote unquote ambitious, but just kind of failing on that front. Sorry for being so mean in this video. I hate doing the worst videos. Um, but I don't care. I don't care about being mean. I don't care about being mean to this. Given what's been said about Michael Gira in the past, um, I don't care about being mean. So I'm gonna keep on being mean. Um, and like every time I pull up on these albums and I'm like, I don't like Swans. I don't like Swans. I don't like Swans. I got like mansplained too. Um, no, stop all that mansplaining. No one's listening. This album's like 2 hours long. I'd rather listen to Mother by Meghan Trainor on loop for 2 hours and listen to this album. But it's just like people pull up on me and they're like, "Oh, you just don't like post rock then?" I enjoy post rock music. I just don't enjoy this post rock music. Music that we can unanimously agree that we don't enjoy though is G-Eazy with his new album Helium. I mean, G-Eazy is another artist where everything really to say has been said. He just makes pretty bad pop rap music. I struggle to be mean to it, because I don't really think he's harming anyone. But this album's harming my ears with tracks like Nada, and just many others that are even worse. That reggaeton song is one of the worst songs I've heard all year. It didn't even come out this year. It came out last year, but I didn't hear it last year. G-Eazy just continues his generational run of pretty bad albums. An album that really shocked the system this year, for good reasons for some and for bad reasons for others. It's going to be this new Playboi Carti album, Music. Contrary to popular belief, I'm not a Carti hater. I think that the self-titled mixtape is fantastic. I think that Dial It has some enjoyable songs, and while I don't really enjoy Whole Lotta Red, I have to respect it for what it did in introducing the rage subgenre, which there's artists that I do love in that genre that just wouldn't exist without that album. But this is Playboi Carti taking all that ambition, taking all that drive, taking all that creative direction, taking all that risk taking, and throwing it out the window to make AI music. No, I've chosen to not include AI music on my worst singles and worst albums lists, and obviously nothing made by AI was going to make the best songs and best albums lists. Just because there's a million videos of me talking about why AI is bad on this channel. There's a million videos on YouTube talking about why AI is bad in the music industry. It's not really needed. But this album, I think, has to be discussed for sorry, I had to go and shut my window, but the sounds outside are just as loud. But no, the majority of this album seems to be allegedly, allegedly, despite the fact that I've heard half the fucking reference tracks, it seems to be reference tracks with an AI Carti voice filter over them, which, I mean, ghostwriting's already, like, been a hot button discussion in hip-hop since hip-hop's inception. You don't need me to tell you that. But, I think that this is different to ghostwriting, at least in the case of, like, Kanye or Baby Keem, like artists who have had reference tracks, Drake. At least in the cases of these artists, they're performing the song, they're adding their own personality to it. There's no personality to a track like Rather Lie on this album, for example. Which is a shame because the beat is hard hitting. And the reference vocals for this track are pretty good. But no, it's ruined by fucking AI nonsense. There's a whole lack of polish to this album that just adds to its disastrous quality. Um, I can't say anything. I put out a 30-track album in 2025, but this feels so unfocused. For the guy who made Whole Lotta Red, like Whole Lotta Red is not an album I enjoy. For the most part, I think there's some good songs on it, but I also think that some tracks on there just suck. But that album was super focused. It was so honed in on this rage sound. But this album, it's all over the place. You've got some tracks that sound straight ripped off A Whole Lotta Red, like the intro Pop Out, for example, which I think is one of the wettest excuses of uh of um of a rage track. I'm sorry. Nothing about Playboi Carti's delivery on this song is exciting enough to get me hyped up to rage. You've got some truly baffling vocal decisions on tracks like the Skepta collab, where Playboi Carti doesn't even sound like himself. I knew from the moment he started doing the deep voice on Fiend, and to be fair, I was being an idiot all the time, but when I first listened to Utopia, obviously the features weren't there. I thought it was Lil Yachty and Future featured on the same song, and that like both sections of his verse were by different people. Like, and this album is kind of that as well. This is just a reject Future album. And the best track on here is a throwaway Young Thug song where Playboi Carti is the worst part. No thank you. Another album I have to say no thank you to as we get into our top 10 is this new Yelawolf and J. Michael Phillips album, Whiskey and Roses. What is this, 2014? We've got Yelawolf and G-Eazy on the worst albums list. This album, it's just not my thing. It's hard to really describe what this is. It's just kind of bad country rap music. Really quite an uninspired sounding album, and you can tell Yelawolf's as far into his career as he is, but it's not harming anyone. Again, I'm just gonna let it mind its own business. An album that also probably, well, actually no, this album is quite harmful. We're gonna be going with Y'all by Glaive. Glaive didn't learn from last year when he made reggaeton music and it was awful. There's like a reggaeton track on here. This album's kind of like if you took everything bad about that new Jane Remover album and like threw it into another one. There's good underground rap music. We don't need to be listening to white people doing it. I mean, I say that as like a white person, but like how shit like this and Revenge Seekers get like must hears on Album of the Year, and then albums like Rest in Bass and Psychotic don't even get acknowledged really. It's questionable. It's questionable. You look at If Looks Could Kill, Destroy Lonely, and it's got like a 30 user score on Album of the Year. And then you look at Revenge Seekers, and it's got like a 90 user score on Album of the Year, and it's kind of like, I'm starting to see an issue here. But this one's even worse. Ugh. All the same issues I had with Glaive's last album are present on this one, and yeah, Glaive still has a long way to go before he impresses me as an artist. The Sky, the Earth, and All Between by Architects is number 8 on this list. I'm not even going to bother with a fancy transition for this album because it sucks. Real bad. Jordan Fish, just... I tend to think that the Jordan Fish hate's a little bit forced because whilst he does make everyone sound like Bring Me the Horizon, that's not a bad thing. Everyone's trying to sound like Bring Me the Horizon anyway. But on this album, it is just kind of a joke how much they're trying to sound like post comeback Linkin Park, how much they're trying to sound like Bring Me the Horizon at points on here, and a few other bands that they rip off from time to time. Throughout this track list, it is just MAGA metal, and I'm sorry, but I can't support that. No, thank you. Next up, we're going to go with Hotel Rock Bottom by Frankie Grande. One of the most baffling collections of pop songs I think that I've heard since like Welcome to the Madhouse. This track list from front to back is just confusing, bamboozling. It'll have you going more than it'll have you going, which is a bit concerning for a dance pop album. The vocals on here are questionable. The songwriting on here is questionable. The lyricism on here is questionable. The production on here is questionable. The mixing on here is questionable. Just truly odd music on this album. Another album that was odd, and at number 6 is going to be this album by You Know Miles. I mean, just continues to confuse me. Like, it's comedy rap music that doesn't sound particularly good, while also not being particularly funny to me either. Like, I just don't really get an appeal from this album. I'm sorry to say. It was a short listening experience that totally dragged. And yeah, I think since this dude's worked with Kanye especially, it's just kind of boring. Like, it's gotten stale. If you couldn't tell earlier on this list, another thing that has gotten incredibly stale to me is trap beats in metal music, which I think that the worst example of that this year is none other than Hollywood Mortician by Nathan James. I listened to this album not knowing what to expect at all. It had like 2 ratings on Album of the Year when I listened to it. And it's just like Corpse Husband music, but even worse. Genuinely, every single track on here made my skin crawl, and I don't think that was the intention. But yeah, I don't need to hear a guy going over trap beats and generic metal breakdowns. It's been done so many times, and it wasn't good the first time. Next up, we're going to go into number 4 with Abomination by Isbroki. Now, it was a toss-up between this album and that she also dropped. But I think that ultimately the obnoxiousness of Abomination is cranked up just a little higher. It's literally just like Lil D Word, but I listened to it, I guess. Because I didn't listen to the Lil D Word albums that came out this year, because I figured listening to the Isbroki ones that did would suffice, because they're pretty much the same artist. Isbroki is the Maury Calliope to Lil D Word's Demon Dice. I'm kidding. But yeah, just really obnoxious music. Just kind of sounds the same as like Demon Dice to me, which baffles me because Album of the Year hates Demon Dice and doesn't hate on this shit. But hey, to each their own. I would say I hope that Isbroki improves in the future, but having heard what came out about a week ago, we'll probably be in the same place next year. Next up, we're gonna get into the top 3. I'm not gonna waste more time. I'm just gonna like run through these. We're gonna go with Anti-Fragile by All That Remains. What's worse than obnoxious political music that I do agree with is obnoxious political music that I don't agree with. This takes all the MAGA metal shit from Architects, but instead of saying it on the Tim Pool podcast and then just making a generic metal album, these guys kind of say it on the album as well. Yeah, I'm sorry, we didn't need Popular Monster 2. And this album isn't near as funny as Popular Monster was. This just is totally lacking in anything to make it stand out. An album that does stand out, however, is particularly torturous on this list. Perhaps even more of a torturous listening experience than Birthing was. We're going to be going with I'm the Problem by Morgan Wallen. From front to back, this is just male manipulator music. It's an album that feels like it's appropriating every genre that it goes for. You know, I don't feel like Morgan Wallen has passion for country. I don't feel like Morgan Wallen has passion for rap music. I don't even feel like he's got passion for pop music, to be honest. This shit's just horrendous from start to finish. But I've left out the part where this album's like 30 million tracks long, which seems to be a theme in this man's discography. I don't know. I don't know why I felt possessed to listen to this, but I did. Now, in at number 1 is going to be an album that I kind of have to hold back about because of some personal stuff, which is part of why this album's so bad to me. But we're going to be going with Ghost Holding by Venturing, also known as Jane Remover, also known as Leroy, also known as a million other names. This album, I can't really speak about what makes this album so bad to me because it is very personal. So I'm sorry I ended the video on a bit of a downer, but yeah. Originally I was going to include Revenge Seekers on this list, but just because I think it would have been more fun to bash on, but this album, I can't deny it's the worst experience I've had listening to any album this year. It made me ill listening to this shit, and yeah. So we're not gonna end the video on a mopey note. I'm just gonna make fun of Revenge Seekers. It's just like too honest but bad. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Thanks for putting up with me. I never like making the worst albums list. Less passion has gone into this video than went into I'm the Problem. I hate making the worst albums list. It's always my least favorite to do because I hate bashing on music. But hey, it's fine. It's not long until we can start praising music because now we've finally got the end of year list videos over. I'm so excited to kick off 2026 and get more reactions and music discussion and all that jazz. So if you like this video, please do consider leaving a like. If you're interested in anything I mentioned before, please do consider subscribing. I know this probably isn't the best first video for you to watch, but I'm still so thankful that you did, and I'd love to have you on the team. We're building up an army. 40 subscribers by the end of 2026. That's the goal. But yeah, comment down below what your least favorite album of this year was, and I'm gonna love you and leave you. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Haven't thought of a name yet. Signing out.